Let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
let me bang you, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, nerds and virgins.
Go for Jeezy. No for Jeezy, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with one of my best friends, one of my favorite comics, probably the most underrated comic in the country, and I say that with respect. I hate when people tell me, dude, why aren't you bigger? Why don't people know you? And, dude, you should be bigger. Like, I get that all the time. Why haven't I heard of you? And it's nothing but an insult, but I don't mean it when I say it to you. I honestly mean that you're I honestly think you're one of the funniest people that I know. I don't know if it's a compliment to be called underrated. Like, I guess it's better than being overrated. But
yeah, that's for sure.
But I mean it with like, I honestly think that when you see Greg Wilson live, you'll be like blown away.
Thank you, brother. I sincerely appreciate that. You know, of course, I share the sentiment about you. I mean, you prove it all the time. I mean, everything you're on all the big shows. You got the big special. I mean, the evidence is there. You know, it's not up for debate anymore. I mean, you're just one of the best.
Working on a new special now, which is great. I got the okay from Dana, and working on a new one. So excited about that. It's just
awesome.
The hard part about the MMA comedy specials are like where you practice the material, because it's not like going out to a comedy club and be like, oh, here's some.
Right. It's kind of, it's fighter centric. So you kind of need that audience.
Yeah. If I
to really feel how it's going to go.
So I would literally have to be like, hey, you on Zoom, want to hear an hour on Michael Chandler? Look, there's definitely worse problems to have. And I have to make it work. I mean, I could go up there with like a teleprompter and be like, but who the fuck wants to do a special on a teleprompter? I just never, So
that's a lot of work for you to create a whole new hour because of the short form, jokes that you do. I mean, you got to remember that's a lot of memorization.
It is. That's why this one's gonna be different. I'm gonna memorize it like I'm like going in order from the lowest to the highest weight. I'm just roasting every. So that way.
Oh, that makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
I guess the big mystery will be, who are you going to use the Coke joke on?
Well, I mean, it just seems like Jon Jones seems to be the winner in that.
He really is. He gets it every time.
And I got to say, with all I know Jon Jones blocked me on every medium. Things I didn't even know he was even following me on. I go on Farmers Only because like you're blocked by Jon Jones. But when I met Jon Jones, it was like right after he beat Stephan Bonner. And people didn't know who he was. I'm in a room pitching him for the first year of the MMA Awards. I'm in a room giving everyone their jokes. And one of them, like, it was a Hammer. It was me and MC Hammer. And I was pitching MC Hammer, like, how about you go on stage and you sing, "You Can't Tap This." And he looked at me like I was the biggest idiot. Like, it was just not. He was like, okay.
I'm sure he's been pitched a lot of parodies on that.
By the way, I heard that Hammer was like a straight thug. Like, if you go on YouTube, like Third Base, like had like a beef with Hammer, MC Serch back in the day, and they flew to like LA to do a show, and there was like they got a call saying, "Yo, Hammer's gonna murder you. You're gonna have you." And they got back on the plane, and like MC Hammer back in the day was like,
well, he was from Oakland. I mean, he wasn't from San Francisco. He was from Oakland. So
and then there was also like a thing where like Reza from the Wu-Tang got into it with Hammer. And it was like he had like 6 people, and Hammer had like 150 or something. Like Hammer was like.
Well, I mean, that was on him though. He was that's how he lost all his money. Is he hired his whole neighborhood and took them all on buses and shit. And as it turns out, that's super fucking expensive.
I remember watching Arsenio Hall back in the day, and Arsenio was like, "Yo, Hammer, man, I hear you spending money like crazy." He's like, "Nah." He's like, "Well, what was the last thing you bought?" He's like, "Well, from his car, he had a button where he could turn on the light to his fish tank in his house from his car." And like, this is back in like, this is back in like the 80s when like that shit wasn't, you couldn't do stuff like that.
Exactly. You had to hook up like a radio transmitter and like a receiver. You had to have a small person living in your attic. Like, oh, that's the signal.
Dude, so it was
it's creeping me out a little bit, Adam. I was literally just watching Third Base last night talk about how MC Hammer put a hit on him. Like really? I thought I was having a dream when you just said that. I was like, wait, am I dreaming right now? Because I literally was just watching that. Because I somehow got to watching this video, the gas face by Third Base, if you remember that, where
I love that.
They just were Jews trashing white people instead of Palestinians for once. But they just kept talking about how terrible white people were during that video, which was strange. But I don't know.
They were like, yo, Hammer gets the gas face. Yeah, MC. I'm like from Long Island, so like MC, they were a big deal back in the day, Third Base. But yeah, Hammer back in. So anyway, I was in a room and I was pitching him, and then I pitched. I pitched who else? The football player, Jerry Rice, an idea. I'm like, Jerry Rice, man. Like, I'm like, Jerry Rice, how many girls did you get back in the day? You must have got. And like his wife was there, so he was just like, that went really bad.
That's classic Adam Hunter right there. I was like, is this your wife? Right. Tell us about all that pussy you used to get before you met your lovely wife. Your beautiful lovely wife. She's amazing, I'm sure. But tell us about all that crazy pussy.
That's it. And then I'm in a room with Jon Jones and Tom Sizemore. That's the room. And
that's an interesting room.
Yeah, and Tom Sizemore didn't know who Jon Jones was. And I was explaining to Tom Sizemore, like, no, man, you got to see this guy's spinning back elbow. And Jon Jones could not have been – he was so nice back in it. This is before he became big, and he kind of had – right. I heard he changed a little bit. But
I'm amazed Tom Sizemore didn't get his ass kicked by Jon Jones. I can see him try to start something.
He was very polite. He also didn't know why he was there or even where he was. I'm not even sure Tom Sizemore knew what was going on. So
well, at least we know who Jon Jones originally got cocaine from.
That was probably the origin story.
Yeah, I bet.
So I had a show Thursday. It was like at this it was in Temecula, and they were celebrating 30 years of downtown Temecula. They were famous for like the bank that Jesse James robbed back in the day, and it was like outside in like a hamburger place. And literally, I'm standing outside, and people are laughing, but people are walking back and forth. And I'm just roasting them as they're walking. Like, they have nothing to do with
I saw that.
And then people were dying. People were actually dying because, like, you know, I'm like, this couple just came from not getting laid, and this couple came out of the closet today. That guy gets top. And then it was like no one was wearing a mask except for a guy that was like 350 pounds. And I was like, hey, you're like the one guy who needs oxygen. Like, you're probably the guy. I was like, is that a mask or a napkin? But then some little 12-year-old came with like 3 of his buddies, right? And I'm like, who let, was there a Pokemon game or something? And then the kid goes, whatever, you bootleg Tony Hawk. I was like,
that's a good one.
Fucking kid got me. He got me, right? I was like, where are your parents? And then his mom was there. So I'm like, oh, is that your dad? She's like, no, that's my coworker. And then I'm like, oh, sure he is. Everyone hangs out with their coworkers on Thursday nights at 9:00. I'm like, when are you gonna tell him? When are you gonna tell him? You know, like I was just like, so then I was like, luckily that was it. Then Friday night I drove to Laughlin 6 hours to a show, which I didn't realize it was an AA convention. So it was like 400 people that were recovering. I
wonder if the casino knew that. They're like, oh yeah, bring your group. Oh yeah, the whole group will give you a great discount. Wait a minute, what? You're not drinking?
Oh, I was like, I think I made you guys relapse during the show, but they were actually really a fun. I got a standing ovation, Greg. I was like, of course, that's like my group of people, you know, recovering.
Exactly. You found your crowd, and it's recovering alcoholics.
And then I drove to Bakersfield Saturday night to do a show. I had a Zoom show before that where I got hired to roast this guy who was his birthday. He's an editor for Marvel. So the whole crowd on Zoom was all editors, a bunch of introverts. So it was the best crowd. And his wife. So I'm just roasting him to death because she gave me all these things about him. It was good. And then I did a show outside afterward. There was like 19 comics, then me. So the crowd was gone. And then there was a train that kept coming, like 5 feet from where the show. So every time I get to a punchline, there's a fucking train. And it was like one of those long-ass trains. It just never ends. And then it went backwards. Like it kept. I'm like, great. It's just doing fucking laps. This train. And then some girl was like, started heckling me, and I'm like, sorry, the train's bringing up memories of when you got run over by a train. Like, so yeah, it was crazy. Don Frye, how are you, man?
I'm okay, partner. How are you?
Good. How was your weekend? All right, that was Don Frye.
Wait, no, I'm back. What'd you ask?
How was your weekend?
Shit, I guess okay. I mean, I'm alive, so it must not have been too bad, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I saw a picture with you and Stan Severn and Rob Schneider.
Yeah. Hell, partner, that's a couple months old.
All right, well.
Apparently you're not following our podcast very well.
Well, I think your Wi-Fi is that long. It takes you that long to upload a photo. It's really.
We gotta put the antennas on the horse, and trot him up to the top of the mountain.
And then, Greg, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Good, man. All I keep thinking about is these gigs that you take. Like that video, you were basically performing on like a crate down in whatever that town, Temecula. And I'm just like, I can only imagine like they're trying to get a comedian, and when someone goes,
they have to settle for you.
No, but they're like, we can get you Adam Hunter. They're like, for this? And they're like, yeah, he'll take anything. And they get Adam fucking Hunter with all these credits, this amazing comedian, and he fucking Temecula in front of a train.
At least when I get tipped more than I got for the gig. I'm not sure if that's an insult or like I get more money than I got for the actual gig in tips. Someone's like, here's an extra couple, like.
This isn't
like George Foreman preaching on street corners, right? So
yeah.
Adam just preaching on street corners until he gets, makes his comeback.
Yeah, well, it's meanwhile, so there's a parent who's mad at me at like my kid's school. I'm not sure if I can talk about this, but I found out one of the parents was a battle rapper, this female, right? My daughter.
Oh, perfect.
My daughter's friend's friend, right? So I was like, at the meeting, I was like, I saw her at school. I'm like, hey, I heard you used to be a battle rapper, right? Like, I thought that was cool, right? She's like, no, that never happened. And I was like, okay, all right. I'm like, but it said on the internet you were a battle rapper. She's like, no. So then I get a text.
I was like, oh, really? You're trying to imagine that didn't happen? Because I can pull up evidence right now. So I can force you to confront your past.
So then I get a text, right, from our other mutual friend, right, that says, hold on, that says, hey, please don't bring up the fact that so-and-so was a battle rapper. That was before she knew the Lord, and she doesn't want to be reminded of that time. Okay? So
basically what I just said.
Before she what?
But that was before she knew the Lord.
I thought you said before she knew the whore.
No, knew the Lord. So I wrote, I promise I won't bring it up. I'll never have her say what's up. I won't bring up this battle. I didn't want to rattle. Like I just started rapping the apology.
Oh my God. You just
that,
you're just the worst. Oh my God. You can't help it. You can't help yourself. You see the opportunity and you're like, I know I probably shouldn't pour salt on this, but maybe I'll just pour it all on.
Sean, did you ever have issues with some of your kids' parents?
No, I tried to never talk to them because I was better than them in my opinion. But I did see a rap battle one time. I saw a rap battle one time. It was awesome in person because this fighter named Tristan Yunker, who's a really good fighter. I used to hang out with him, but he sounds like Napoleon Dynamite or Kip Dynamite when he talks. So these guys were rap battling. He said, do me. And then the guy said something about him having a list within the second line. And he open hand slapped the shit out of him. And the other rap battle guy's like, yeah, you ain't gonna slap me. And he slapped him too. And he just started dealing out slaps to everybody. It was so great. And then got in a street fight. It was ridiculous. I did win. I won that battle though that night. You want to hear my winning freestyle I did?
Do I want to hear it? Is it going to get us kicked out? Well,
no, it's really good.
Kicked off what? The internet?
Right, yeah. So, it was something along the lines of roses are red, violets are blue, Brendan Schaub really sucks as a comedian, and Bruce Buffer's probably gay. That was all I could come up with.
I can see why you won. Sounds like a great battle.
Classic open rhyme scheme.
Right. I think it was a haiku of some kind.
It was a haiku. I think it was definitely.
Don Frye, did you ever get into it at like sporting events with your kids or with your kids' friends' parents?
Get into what? Battle rapping? No.
No. It's like an argument.
Can we get a little Don Frye battle rapping?
I would be just as happy with a Greg Frye battle rap if it's not. But.
No, but did you ever get into it like coaches or anything, or like referees, or during your kids' sporting events or anything?
I was told not to speak to the referees. And I mean, there's a so fucking weak and soft over here. It's unbelievable. You know, you're not allowed to question a referee, you know, or some penalty against a team. You can't, heckle anybody, if the penalty against a team. It's ridiculous how weak and soft we have gotten as a society.
Don's like, you can't waterboard the PTA. What's going on here?
I know.
What? Greg Frye, what happened at the PTA meeting?
Hey, they wanted me to stop questioning everything. I got up there and said, I got this bitches in charge. And they're like, you can't call her a bitch. I said, fine. Why is this cunt in charge? Hey, fucking two room here.
I wish you would have made all that rhyme, Greg. That would have been better.
All right, so let's talk about some of the fights.
And apparently, you're not allowed when you're in court. You're not allowed to tell the judge that domestic violence is so weak you can go to jail for letting a big fart. You know, and they don't appreciate that. You know.
Yeah, I can see that wouldn't be a good defense. All right, now, so the fights over the weekend: Michael Chandler versus Oliveira. That was a great fight. I mean, you know,
the first round was,
I obviously
what there was of it. Yeah,
I obviously wanted Chandler to win. You know, I'm friends with Chandler. Oliveira seems like a really nice guy too, and but it was one of those things where I'm not even sure what Chandler could have done even better. I mean, he almost fought like he fought a great fight. Duck. He could have ducked, right? But a lot of people were like, he doesn't. A lot of people said he didn't deserve to be there. I think he really proved he deserved to be there. He was seconds away from winning. Oliveira just had a better night. I would love to see the rematch though on that one, Greg.
I think you have to have a rematch. I mean, because the tail of the tape was the first round, and Chandler was clearly winning. He got caught. He got classic fucking caught. And without that one butt in, Oliveira also had that killer instinct to jump on him. Chandler had a couple of those opportunities in the first round, and it could be argued that he should have done what Oliveira did when he caught him in the second.
John?
Yeah, it sucked, man. The main card, the way it went, I would have won thousands of dollars in any scenario under which it wasn't exactly what happened. I had so many parlays. If any fight went the other way, I would have won. But it went the only way I could lose. It went, but I think we found out. I thought the reach advantage for Oliveira played a big role when I was watching it with him and Chandler. Even though Chandler fought well, I thought the reach was getting in trouble at points. And then when I saw Tony Ferguson fight, I was sure Chandler was going to win because I was like, oh, it isn't Oliveira's that good. Just Tony Ferguson is that bad now that when they fought that it made Oliveira look that good. It's I know we're not talking about Tony Ferguson yet, man, but that was sad to watch. That was a terrible thing.
Don, what are your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, I lost money on that one too. Shit, and I thought for sure Chandler was going to win when Oliveira had that walkout music that was probably Lawrence Welk special or something. But as soon as when I saw Chandler come up there and get to the gate, I knew he was going to lose. There's something that just flashed across his face, which you can just see it momentarily, and then I was like, shit, I need to change my bet. Please.
Now, Sean, when you lose a bet like that, are you mad all night long?
Yeah, I never did well when I lost, man. Even if I knew I was going to lose going in, like if I had been able to train or anything or was hurt, I I could never go when I lost. I could never go to an after party. I was ashamed, like, to be seen by anybody for
No, I'm talking about losing the bets like that. When you would have lost the bet. Are you pissed?
Oh, yeah, right? No, it ruins everything, man. Yeah, it's so funny because if I've got money on, like, Chandler, I think they stopped it early, even if he got decapitated. I'm like, his head could have got put back. I'm like, what are they doing? But if I've got money on Chandler, the minute he hits Oliveira, I'm like, stop the fight. Like, it really does affect the way I feel about fights when they're going on. But yeah, it ruins my night, man. I don't know, but I have a running tab, so I'm still up over the past 3 years gambling on fights. So I'm still up. So it's kind of like, I feel like, I haven't really lost anything if you consider I'm still a couple grand up. So.
That's the thing about gambling when you're gambling on the fights, especially on the whole card, running a parlay or whatever. Like the victory is never as sweet as awful as the defeat feels.
What? It's really weird you said that, Greg. I was reading something about somebody that said, like, people eventually, like, give up gambling. They say because that's the problem. It gets to where winning's not as fun as losing is bad. And they said eventually a lot of people get to that point, they just quit doing it because they're just like, if I'm not gambling thousands of dollars, there's no joy in winning, when you win 30 or $50 or whatever, and then losing hurts way worse. So not to cut you off, I just thought that was interesting that you said that because that's like a psychological study they did saying that.
No, it's true.
When I was at the Holly Holm fight, I had like a 12-fight parlay, right? And the first fight lost. So now I'm rooting now, and then my next like 10 came in. So now I'm rooting for everybody to lose. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't. Now I want my picks to be wrong because you don't want to get one wrong. I want them all wrong.
And that's the other thing. When the first one blows it's ruined. It's already blown. But then when the rest go right, then it's just jamming you in the fucking eye. And that's the worst part. Like, you win, and it's, like, satisfactory. You're like, okay, cool, I knew it. I fucking knew it. But when you lose, it's like, fuck, these motherfuckers. They took all my fucking
Tony Ferguson, man, everyone's like, should he retire? He announced yesterday he's not retiring. He says, only the beginning. This is just the beginning.
It's only beginning of the downward slide.
Yeah, only the beginning of the CTE.
Maybe he's addicted to losing now, because he gets that high from the loss.
I mean,
talking about, right?
The only thing I think he should do is if the way I would get behind him saying it is if he just completely goes to a different camp, one of these like American Top Team or AKA, and kind of buys into that program, because what he's doing right now is not working for him.
Totally.
So
I'm blown away by the role confidence can play in fights, man, still to this day. He looked like he thought he was going to lose every minute of that fight. Like, from the start, he looked like he thought he was going to lose. And not that Dariush isn't good, but he's not that good, man. Like, that was total domination. I always thought, I don't know if I ever told you guys about that or told you, Adam, but I was positive when I fought Soa Palile. He couldn't even look me in the eyes. He was so terrified at the weigh-in and before the fight. And I was like, this dude's about to catch an ass whip. He's so scared. Then he beat the brakes off me. Like, it wasn't even close at any point. And I was like, oh, I guess confidence doesn't really matter. But
now, do you think that it's one of those things?
maybe Ferguson should go to Diego Sanchez's gay guru.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Imagine he does that, and then he goes undefeated afterwards. Like, he actually does that.
That would be amazing.
Like, now, I mean, do you think it's one of those things, Don and Sean and Greg too, but since you guys are fighters,
Understood.
Where I always said that when guys do everything technically wrong but get away with it, like a guy like Anderson Silva, whose hands are down, his chin is up, but he's just so much quicker than everybody, or like a Roy Jones Jr., kind of the same thing. Eventually, it catches up to you, and then the technique's not there, and then you're just a slight second or even more than that slower. That's kind of what Dean Thomas said when he was thing, and then all of a sudden you start getting caught, and then these things aren't working for you. Do you think that's what's happening with Tony Ferguson, Don?
No. I mean, I've never seen him walk around with his hands down, his chin up. Not that bad, but yeah, he's slowed down a little bit. Obviously, it happens to everybody. So when that happens, you should change camps. It's not hard for the people to let you go. It's hard for somebody to let you in, when you're fucking but yeah, you've got to change styles completely.
Sean?
I think, man, I really think it's just a confidence thing. I think maybe he's, athletically he's slowed a little bit, but it, I remember the first time I ever lost, Monty Cox was my agent at the time and told me, he said, don't let this ruin you. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I've managed 1,000 guys in my life, and it's a very rare that when guys are undefeated, they have this belief in the back of their mind that they can't lose. They'll find a way to win. They'll get lucky. Even if they're losing, they'll win. And I had that same thing. I was positive I was going to win every fight. I figured I'll figure out a way no matter what. And then once you realize you really can lose and you realize how bad it hurts and how embarrassing it is, it can work both ways. So it worked against me, and I think it works against a lot of guys because you start fighting just to try to not lose. Like that's your goal, is to not lose as opposed to trying to win. And I don't know. Tony Ferguson just looked like he didn't want to be out there. He looked like he was just trying to make it to a decision. It was strange, man, for a guy that usually – he didn't even try anything crazy like he normally did, or didn't try anything. He played there. That's what it looked like to me. So.
I mean, comedy's the same way. I'm sure, Greg, you could tell. Is that like – it's like when you bomb. So like the first time – like when you bomb, sometimes you're like, I can't wait to go back on stage. Like, and then you start – sometimes you – no matter how big you bomb, you can start questioning shit. Like you can start going like, oh my, and then you just want to have a good set, but you forget like what got you the good set, which is telling the jokes. You just become result oriented
and being comfortable. You lose your comfortability. You're overthinking everything, and you're trying to set it all up so that you can't lose.
Yeah.
Instead of just going up there and having fun, and winning. I think Tony. Listen, this guy's taken so much damage. He's been in some just wars, and I think we're just seeing the results of that. And I don't know that changing a camp is going to do anything about that. I think that he may be headed down the Cerrone road.
I think they got to give him like a Jim Miller. They got to give him somebody like that's not in the top 15 and see how he does, get his confidence back, see how he does, and then go there, because giving him these top 2-3 guys is just not – it's not going to work out for him right now.
That's what I always loved about Pride. If you watch Pride, Fedor would fight Mirko Cop, then he would fight some random Asian guy who shouldn't even be in there with him. Then he would fight a really tough guy. Then he would fight Zulu or somebody who also shouldn't be in there with him. But I think it helps guys build momentum, man. Like if you have a really tough fight that you almost lose or you barely come out, to have a fight, not necessarily an easy fight, but one that you should win 9 out of 10 times. I'd like to see the UFC do that a little more, instead of always having best versus, the number 2 guy's got to fight number 1. Then when he loses, he's got to fight number 3. Then he's got to fight number 4 or number 2 again. Like, it's just, I don't know, man.
Nobody had crazier fights than Don Frye. You against that Asian guy that was 500 pounds? Who's that guy? Akibono. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. That guy weighed what, 435?
I think 490 or something like that. He cut down.
He cut down to 490.
That's when you're looking across a guy that's 490. What's going through your head?
I hope I don't fall down and he eats me.
Glad I didn't wear that barbecue cologne.
Yeah, that's what I told Big John McCarthy. First time I fought in the UFC 8, against the guy who was twice my weight. He was 410. And he said, John came over the corner and talked. I said, you got any questions? I said, yeah, if I fall down, don't let him eat me.
Nobody had worse luck than that guy from Israel. Modi, what was his name? Modi.
Horenstein. Oh, my God. Horenstein.
He was a pretty.
He tried to climb the fence to get the hell out of there after Mark Coleman got hold of him.
He was a good fighter, though. He was like an Israeli guy. He was a stud, and they put him up against Mark Coleman his first fight. And then who? Then was it you the second fight? Don.
It's gonna work, right?
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Did you fought him, right?
You there?
Yeah. Didn't you fight Modi Horenstein?
No. Who?
You.
No.
Oh. Who else did Modi Horenstein fight?
What?
Who else did he fight?
Oh, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. All I know is that, after Coleman got hold of him, he was trying to climb the cage to get the hell out of there. Shit.
All right, I'm looking him up.
Started running and kept running.
Modi the Hammer Horenstein. He had a record of 1-6. He was from
It sounds like your hammer's broken.
All right, well, but his first fight was against Mark Coleman. His second fight was
The
against
other
Mark,
hammer.
His second fight was against Mark Kerr. His third fight was against Oleg Taktarov. I mean,
Golly.
talk about how
Who is this guy's manager?
And who did he beat?
Somebody who's anti-Semitic, obviously. Yeah.
Then he fought Bob Schreiber. I don't know who that is, but then he beat Patrick Smith. He beat Pat Smith, who had a record of 20-17, and Pat Smith was a pretty good fighter. And then he lost to Bob Schreiber again, and he lost to Alex Ferreira. But yeah, I mean, when your first fights are against Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, and Oleg Taktarov, those are like three of the best guys of all time. I mean, come on, fuck. I thought you think a Jewish guy from Israel would have a good agent and. Not the
Schreiber sounds German. Schreiber sounds German. So those two, that must have been quite a fight.
By the way, so Jacare needs to hang it up too. I like Jacare.
I was saying that. I was saying it.
That was rough. I mean, I'm not sure at this point what Jacare has to prove, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him prove he can walk into the cage without doing that crocodile stupidity, but that's me. That's the last thing I think he has to prove, because that's the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But aside from that, though, I mean, so Jacare, and then Matt Snell lost. My buddy Kane, Danger Cage, that sucked.
That fight sucked.
Caitlin Chukagan won. That was a good fight. Good.
It was. She looked really good too. She used that length, man. She looked good.
Yeah, she's kind of a hottie too. And then Edson Barboza beat Shane Burgos. That was a good fight.
Was that fight of the night? That probably should have been. What a fight! I think that might be the end of those calf kicks, though. I mean, Jesus, you see what it did to his shin? Fuck all that.
And then on the undercard, there was actually a good undercard. The whole card was good. Jacare lost. Lando Venato won. Although somebody gave the other guy, somebody gave him 30-27. That was weird, right? The Beverly Hills Ninja won. I told you that was going to happen. Andrea Lee, the little hottie cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
She won. Gina Mazzani, I thought would have won, and then the ref stood her up from mount. Or she was like in guard, and they stood her up. That was Beltran, who's usually a really good ref. I don't know what he was thinking on that one. So it was a good.
I think we got to stop trying to make this Antonina Shevchenko happen, man. She's clearly not her sister. I mean, she sucks. I don't know what to tell you.
She doesn't not suck, but she's not her. But compared to her sister,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, they keep building her up. She doesn't have the wins. I don't think she has the resume, but they keep putting her on all these good cards because her last name's Shevchenko, and I think they gotta set her down, let her learn to be a better fighter first.
I hear you. I do hear you. And then so let's talk about the fights coming up this week. There's some good fights this week. Don Frye, we got to get you ESPN Plus, okay? That's my mission in life.
Okay.
Is to get you.
All right.
It's $5 a month.
Okay.
I will pay for it. I promise you.
You know that is on the internet, though, right? So that's going to be a problem. Don doesn't have good internet. ESPN Plus isn't going to work.
I feel like Don is just playing us. So this week in Bellator, this Friday night, Cyborg is fighting Leslie Smith. Look, I love Leslie Smith. Leslie Smith is a fucking badass. We did a comedy show together. She had a tumor removed from her stomach, and then still did a show that night in Vegas. And we showed. My wife came, and I was showing her the video of her getting it, and my wife's like, "What kind of friends do you have?" It was like when we first started. And then right after that, like Stephen Bonner came over and he's like, "Hey, you want to see my tooth that I got stuck in my hand?" And my wife almost ran for the fucking hills. Like, but so she's fighting Cyborg. The first fight did not go very well. It's a tough fight for Leslie. She's in college. I know she just finished college again, and she's always like doing these crazy protests and starting unions, and she's a real badass. I hope she beats Cyborg. It's an uphill battle, though. Who do we like in this fight, Greg?
I think obviously Cyborg. I mean, she's back where she's comfortable and kicking ass, and I don't think Smith's going to be that much of a challenge for her this time.
McCorkle?
I don't think any female is going to be a challenge for Cyborg. I think she'd beat Amanda Nunes if they fought again. I don't know. You're going to have a man to fight that woman and beat her, man. She is tough. She is really, really good.
Have you ever rolled with a girl?
No, I actually one time, a long time ago when I first started, it made me extremely uncomfortable because it felt like there was absolutely, because I was used to rolling around with men. But no, there was like, I didn't feel like I could, she was 120 pounds. I didn't feel like I could do anything without potentially hurting her, so it's kind of like, it was weird. I told the jiu-jitsu coach, when they had a substitute teacher, because my normal guy that taught here, the Brazilian guy, he would just roll with all the girls nonstop and like molest them the whole time. Like that was his MO. Is that he goes and like he would always be like, oh no, you roll with me, like every chick that came in. So some of the guys in there, we all talked about maybe so we could get a private lesson every class also, because that's obviously what he was doing. I don't want to say his name, but it's Marcelo Montero. So
Don Frye, have you ever rolled with a girl?
Shit. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. A couple of the guys brought his cousin. One of the guys brought his cousin in one time because she was moving to Minneapolis, and we wanted to teach her some shit. But she was good looking, so everybody wanted to roll with her, So I showed her a couple things, and then I got the hell out of there. Nah, I was married, and I didn't need the bullshit. So.
Were there any boner
before you got married?
Any boner timeouts?
Yeah.
You're right, though.
Yeah.
I've rolled with girls before, and it's hard. It's hard when they're like they're better than you, like skill wise, but you could just outstrength them. So you have to like not use your strength, and sometimes it's actually hard going. It's almost harder going 50% or 30% than it is going full, especially if you come from a wrestling background, because wrestling is like 100% or nothing. That's what they want. It's hard to like go 70% in wrestling practice.
What's weird, Adam, is that's how I felt when I rolled with men also. Everyone was always better than me. I was just bigger and stronger than them. So like that's how I was always able to do everything. So.
Yeah, but it feels worse. You don't want to like use your out muscle a girl, because then you just feel like you're just being a fucking pussy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like you just, I don't know. You just kind of, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to go light. It's like when I coach, and one kid's clearly better than the other kid, and I tell the one kid, hey, just focus on technique, and
right.
And even during live wrestling, it never really goes that way. It's just hard because it's like the egos get involved and yada yada yada. So Darian Caldwell, who was a Bellator champion. I don't know how this guy makes 135. He's 2 inches taller than me. He's got to be about 6 feet. 135. He was a national champion. He was like a 4-time state champion wrestler in high school. And then he lost to Antonio McKee quickly with some weird, like, it was like a basic, I can't even describe it. It was just strange. But he's fighting Leandro Higo. Should be a good fight. I think Caldwell beats everyone right now except for Antonio McKee, and I think that was strange. Paige Van Zandt's boyfriend, or husband now. By the way, Paige Van Zandt, if you follow her on TikTok, Greg?
No.
She's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's weird because I don't look at her as a young girl, but I'm 42. She's got to be early 20s, but she's very sexualized. Let's just put it that way. Like, she's very like free with her body, but she's married, know her husband, but she's like, she's in different positions and humping and fucking side boob and front boob and.
Okay, I'm downloading TikTok right now. Let me just grab this app. You sold me. I didn't realize. There's so much that's been collected and put on other sites. I didn't feel the need to see it.
Anyway, her husband is Austin Vanderford, who's like this goofy, nice guy who's undefeated from Alaska. He should be in the UFC. I feel like being married to Paige Van Zandt hurt him. Like, they went extra hard to not sign him for some fucking reason. But he's fighting Fabian Edwards, who's Leon Edwards' brother, who's 9-1. Good. This is a good fight. This is a good fight.
Wait a minute, Adam. Are you insinuating the UFC would ever hold a grudge against anyone? I have a hard time imagining anyone at the UFC holding a grudge.
I don't understand. Well, this is just strange. And also on the card is Saad Awad, who remember he came to my He came to my house one day, him and Georgie Karakanya. We did a podcast at my house. And this guy, like, at the time, like, my wife found this, like, there was a pregnant cat that was following her home. So we, like, took it in because it was pregnant. And it gave birth in our bathroom. So it was, like, the most disgusting shit ever. It was just, like, I mean, when a cat gives birth, it's just, they cut off the balls. So there's, like, 5 kids in the bathroom, and you can't walk in there, and then you couldn't look. And then my other cat got upset, my female that I brought home, this pregnant cat. So she shit on my bed for a week while I was in Vegas. And I fucking came home from Vegas, and I just popped my bed. I'm like, what the hell? And I was fucking like a cat litter, you know? Like, that was her way of being like, you bring home pregnant bitches, this is what happens. But anyway, Saad Awad came to my house when the cats were there, and he was playing with all the cats. And he was like, you could tell how a person is by how they treat animals. So
admittedly, my internet's not the best today because it's raining, but all I got was that you were talking about this guy in Saad Awad, and then all of a sudden he reminded you of a pregnant cat shitting all over your bed. And I was like, okay, I don't know how those two came together, but if his fighting reminds you of a pregnant cat shitting itself, I got to watch that guy fight.
Very close.
You got most of it. You got it right. And that was about the gist. So.
Also on the undercard is this guy, Aviv Ghazali from Israel, who is like a Henzo Gracie, like 4th degree black belt, has like 5 wins under 5 minutes. This dude is the future. He is the future. He's like 20 years old. His dad is like 50. And was like a Israeli, you know, in the military. He's a bare knuckle boxer.
So was Marty Ornstein, you know, when he claimed he was like, you know, the Mossad or something like that, right?
No, it's a little different. This guy is like legit. They call him the Israeli Batman, his father. He's a bare knuckle boxer now, but is a badass. Also is Valerie Loretto, who, you talk about a thirst trap. This girl.
Yeah.
She's just all about letting guys like thirst over her butt. I mean, she's beautiful. She's a karate champion, but she's not ashamed of her body at all. And likes to let everyone look at it. She's fighting.
Is she on TikTok?
Her name is Valerie Loretto, Loureda, and she's always twerking. She's always on a yacht somehow. Her ass is always like a big bubble butt. I guess Luke Rockhold tried to get in her DMs one time, and she posted it. And then Masvidal said, like, nice try, because they trained together. So,
well, I think her name's going to be Valerie Mrs. Don Frye in a little bit. Just to give this some time.
No, I have enough of those. I'm not trying to start a collection.
You got that for
I'm not competing with Randy Couture in that swipe contract.
Now, if you get a 4th, I think they give you a lifetime of free Whoppers or something.
Yeah, for being a loser. Yeah.
I'm still just stuck on the fact, not about Don Frye marrying that girl, but I can't believe a Jew is about to take something over, like the lightweight division. I've just never heard of any situation where a Jew would take over or run anything. So,
all right, this podcast taking a weird turn, a very strange turn. I'm not really sure how much. This might not be the best time to like talk about this. All right, so also Friday night, Invicta is now.
I thought you were about to. Boy, I thought you were about to start talking about what's happening over in Israel.
I'm not.
This may not be the best time to talk about it, but really, Palestine, Israel, chill out, tone it down, take it to the ring. This is ridiculous.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. Some woman on the internet compared the U.S. government to Hamas, right? So, because they both commit war crimes or something, and I was like, come on, this is now we're getting extreme here. And
I didn't mean to start this conversation. We can go back to the fights.
All I said was comparing the U.S. government to Hamas is like comparing Chip Tolley to ISIS, because they both blow shit up, right? And then people unfriended me. They're like, "Fuck you! I hope you don't get your toes back from Coinbase." I'm like.
All right. I just think I don't know. I'd say comparing the U.S. to Hamas.
What was that? Sean?
I was going to say, I'd say comparing to U.S. to Hamas is more like comparing Brendan Schaub to Carrot Top. Like there's nothing funny about it, not in any fashion.
Carrot Top puts on a good show.
I've never seen it.
Sometimes.
I'm telling you, people shit on Carrot Top, but like everyone I know who actually sees the show was like, it was hilarious.
Now I gotta go.
I think the idea, people don't like the idea of Carrot Top, but I mean, there's a reason he gets $6 million a year in fucking Vegas. You know, they're not just giving.
Yeah, that's true too. Absolutely.
Now I have to hang myself. I didn't know that.
You know,
Carrot Top makes $6 million a year.
yeah.
Oh my God.
I think that's like base too. I don't even think that's with all the ancillaries.
Dude, he's just a strange guy. He didn't like doing his makeup every day for a show. So
not because he was a man, but because for the show.
So he like tattooed eyeliner on his eyes.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Well, doesn't he have like fake muscle injections too? Like, didn't he put like some kind of silicone in his arms or something that like had to be taken out?
Well, I
he
heard
probably just moved from his face to his biceps. I think that's
yeah, he had a bunch of plastic surgeries too. Yeah.
Well, I heard allegedly he was like roid raging for a while, and then and when he was doing that, he was like flipping out on the crowd, like throwing his props around and shit.
God, maybe his show is amazing.
I was going to
see that.
I was going to say, so not everyone said it was an amazing show.
Come on, if you see Carrot Top roid raging on stage throwing his props around,
it might be fun.
That sounds awesome.
All right. So Friday night Invicta, which now moved to Access TV. I don't even know.
Oh, okay. That's a channel.
Invicta's still more visible than Bellator. I love it.
A lot of good fights on this. Liz Tracy, Emily Ducote is fighting. Our girl Alicia Zapatella, who's been on the show a bunch of times, smoking hot girl with all tatted up, like cool chick. She was a wrestler. She's fighting Jessica Del Boni. I'm looking forward to that fight.
Dude, I was at King of the Cage one time. I saw her second or third fight ever. Just mentioned to her, I said, you can really fight. Like I said, you really were impressive tonight. And her manager or whatever, the guy's coach, whatever, was scared to death. I was going to try to take her from him and manage her or something. I don't know what the deal is. Like he kept jumping in. Like, hey, I mean, she's under contract. I was like, dude, I just told her good fight. Like I'm not trying like that Jewish fighter trying to take over everything.
All right.
No, so I'm just trying to do a good job.
All right. So Saturday night. By the way, I dealt with a lot of anti-Semitism growing up in Long Island. Kids, like when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, we had like the bar mitzvahs, right? The Jews, every Saturday we go to bar mitzvahs, big parties. But once those ended, the lacrosse players took over. And I don't know, there was just some of them. One kid used to hand out pennies to all the Jewish kids. And he'd be like, "Hey, you're Jewish. Here's a penny." Because like there was some.
They were like, "Thanks." Oh.
It was like, no, I go. It hurt my back picking them up, but yeah, it was fucking terrible. I was kind of a fucked up kid though, and I remember when I went to boarding school, Greg. I used to get bullied a lot. I was 13 years old in Maine, and my roommate used to pick on me all the time. He was like 160. So I was like, I put thumbtacks all over the ground, and I was like, "Hey, your mom's a whore or something." And he walked in barefoot and stepped on all the thumbtacks, and I just laughed.
Yeah, got it. That belongs in a movie, buddy. Put that in pinned part 2.
I just laughed forever. Saturday night, Cody Garbrandt is taking on Rob Font. Cody's coming off COVID. I remember Rob Font knocked out Marlon Moraes, beat Ricky Simone, beat Sergio Pettis, lost to Asuncia. Hasn't lost since 2018. It's a while. Cody's coming off a big win too. He also, I believe, beat Asuncia. Yeah, he beat Asuncia, knocked him out. Before that, he lost 3 in a row to Pedro Munoz, Dillashaw twice. I almost feel like those TJ fights shouldn't count because he got busted for EPO his next fight. They said that they tested the blood afterwards, but I don't know if I believe that.
I was glad to hear Garbrandt. I was glad to hear he beat COVID, man. Now if he could just get over little man syndrome, he'll be set.
Little man syndrome?
Yeah.
I hope Cody.
Like guys that are like 5'4", whatever, like they'll fight or something.
I'm
a man. I can fight. Like, calm down.
I know what it is.
I don't know.
I think
Okay.
Cody's a guy that
I got it bad.
I always got Cody's back. Cody, when he was like trying to make the UFC, tweeted me like, "Hey man, could you post this? Like, I'm trying to be in the UFC, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Of course." And he's always been cool. He's always been cool. So happy, unlike other people who've not always been cool after they become big. So was
that a shot at Ariel Helwani?
No, he was never cool.
Okay, I was just curious.
No, Ariel Helwani just like.
No, he's picking on you.
Oh. I have big man syndrome.
Yes. Also, Carla Esparza, I remember she came on the first like MMA
love to have big man syndrome
ever, and talked about when it comes to anal sex. She's
I'll trade you.
Greg, we're talking about anal sex here. So
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's why he said he would trade me. Oh.
I remember when Carla came on like the first podcast we ever did, and I asked her about anal sex somehow, and she said she's a team player when it comes to anal sex. And then that, of course, made the headline.
Yeah, and then every time she was on the show after that, she was like, "Don't ask me any crazy questions, Adam."
My favorite thing about the early MMA Roasted podcast was where you would have Hector Lombard on, and you guys would be laughing so hard you could barely breathe just when he talked, and then he would get mad and like threaten you. It was the funniest thing ever, man.
He would get
so
mad.
Like, whatever.
Totally. Don't you laugh at me? Don't I can tell you laugh on my face.
Yeah.
He would lose his fucking mind. It's like, we're not laughing at you. You're being funny because he'd be going off.
We got to get him back on. He's fighting Joe Riggs in bare knuckle boxing.
That's going to be a short fight.
Was that a little man syndrome analogy again? Because they're both tiny.
I've heard so many funny things. Dude, there's a story I heard about Hector that like something happened at the gym where him and his training partner like were wielding knives at each other or something. Like it got so intense that they both came back with like machetes. I got to ask him about that because people were telling me about it. Like I
know he fought Josh Barnett in a real fight for like an hour once, and they couldn't decide who won. And he was only 170 pounder at the time or whatever. Like you can fight Josh Barnett for an hour. You're tough, man.
He's beyond. I feel like Hector Lombard was just born on the wrong like age. Like he should have been back in like the caveman, or like like he should have been back back then. He would have been killing it. He's still killing it. So remember when he came on after Trump lost and he was like speaking sheep to him.
Oh yeah. I want to be a sheep. I want to be a sheep.
I remember he was about ready to kill Shang for real if they ever met up in person. I was like, gosh, that'll be a bad situation, man.
Dude,
he said, I don't believe you're a comedian. I never see you on anything. Like to Shang. I was like, all right.
Then he came on the podcast for the great debate, him and Cody Gibson. We had the MMA debate, and then Eve Edwards was on. And then Hector said he thinks that Michelle Obama is a man because there was no proof of her being born. Like it just
that's the natural conclusion I usually make.
Yeah. He had strong political analysis. And then not that I know anything about him, but I'm not running around again. No, the elites.
Speaking of politics, how do you guys feel about how Biden's doing so far?
All right. So,
there we go.
All right.
Don? Oh.
So Carla
I saw a funny meme on there, like, how do you ask somebody if they're vaccinated or not? Just ask them who won the election.
That's funny.
That's a good joke.
Man. I know a lot of Democrats that won't get vaccinated either. Some people are just like anti-vax,
Yeah, some people are. No, it's true. Yeah.
I mean, Sean, you didn't get vaccinated, right?
Did not and will not. Not because I'm afraid of dying, but because they're not going to tell me what I have to do. If they would ask nicely, it'd be one thing, but you're not going to tell me, like, you're going to get this vaccine, so you're going to have to wear a mask. Like, I'm not wearing a mask, and I haven't worn a mask yet. I'm not wearing it. I don't like being told what to do, not by anybody, certainly not by the government. But, no, it also, too, man, it is I'm not afraid of COVID. If I was older, maybe, but I'm not I don't take a flu shot. I'll take it as it comes, man. If I get it, I get it.
So if somebody asks you nicely, you'll do it?
No, but I'd be a lot more likely if they just encourage everybody to take it, as opposed to if you don't do it, you got to wear a mask when you go to the mall. Like, well, we'll see how that works out. I bet I don't.
Now, Don, did you get vaccinated?
No.
Are you going to?
The COVID virus got vaccinated against Don Frye. That's what I heard.
All right. So Carla's fighting Yan Xiaonan from China, strawweight. She's coming off a win over Claudia Gadela, beat Carolina Kowalczyk, beat Angela Hill. This girl's good. She's won 5 in a row, beat Vivian Pereira, beat Kaylin Curran. Man, so this should be a good fight. This should be a really good
That was
fight.
an interesting segue. Adam's like, yeah, the virus, and she's also from China. So it was interesting how you piece those two together.
Just the worst.
Smooth, real smooth.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Didn't even notice it.
Felicia Spencer, she's good. She's a tough one.
Wait, can we go back to the actual fight, though? Because I think this is a good fight for Carla. I like Carla's wrestling style against this girl. I think she's going to win.
I think China's not known for their wrestling. They have good wrestling, but I think you're right. Carla's coming off 4 fights in a row, wins. She beat Michelle. She beat the Karate Hottie, beat Marina Rodriguez, beat Alexa Grasso. She lost. Her last loss was to Tatiana Suarez, who I believe is going to be the champion. I'm calling it right here. By the way, somebody got me really good on the internet, like really good. I couldn't even respond because I was looking through some old jokes of mine. I'm like, man, like I called it like in 14. I said, here's me and the next UFC champion. It's me and Cormier. Granted, he was a 2-time Olympian. It wasn't the hardest pick. But I go, like, Cody No Love is the next big thing, back in like 2012.
Next little thing.
Next little thing. So I said back in 2015, I go, Ben Askren is the next UFC champion, right? So I go, I was close on this one. And then somebody wrote, as close as your eyebrows are to your hairline. And I was like,
Oh, shit.
Oh.
that was a good one. I was like, fuck. I had to retweet it because I almost want to text him, hey, can I use that joke? Pretty fucking good, man. And now I'm looking through his pictures, and it's like, this is like a nice kid with like he's losing weight to get the gym. But I'm like, what am I going to do? Try to get him back? I'm like, you got me. All right. So also on this card, Felicia Spencer, she's the one that fought like Cyborg or Nunez, took a beating. She just takes beatings, this girl, but she's pretty good. She hangs in there, but she's fighting Norma Dumont. I don't know much about Norma Dumont. She's 5-1. I hope Felicia wins though. Wow, this girl Norma Dumont looks like she's jacked. Her name is, she beat Ashley Evans Smith 30-26, and she got knocked out by Megan Anderson. That's the problem, is that Felicia doesn't really have knockout power. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. And then Edmund Shaman, he's the guy everybody was so high on. Remember that kid Edmund? He's coached by the
Oh, yeah.
Then he lost to
Then he got beat. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's fighting Jack Hermanson, another guy everyone. He's the guy that lost to Marvin Vettori, but
This is an interesting fight.
He lost to the Killer Gorilla. He beat Jacare. Yeah, this should be a good fight. This is a good card. And then on the undercard, it's Ben Rothwell, Court McKee, who they say is the Conor McGregor of Ireland, against. Conor McGregor.
I was going to say, I think Conor McGregor is the Conor McGregor.
No, I'm an idiot. Conor McGregor of Utah.
My side,
Yeah, Conor McGregor.
You feel geography.
Conor McGregor of Utah, they say. He's fighting Claudio Silva. A lot of Silvas on this card.
Who did you say, Adam McKenna? Who did you say was fighting Ben Rothwell?
They have a guy.
Chris Barnett.
Oh, have you guys seen Chris Barnett fight?
No.
That dude, man, watch one of his fights, his breakdance, and he's about a 300-pound dude, probably 5'10", 300 pounds. He can breakdance, like after his fights, like the best thing you've ever seen. But that dude can fight. I turned down 2 fights with him, man. I really did back when I was trying to get back in the UFC. They offered him twice, so I'm not fighting that dude. He doesn't get tired, and I did. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to fight him. He's a good dude. He can fight too, man.
Well, he's ranked 265. According to, I'm pretty sure this is a typo. I'm pretty sure somebody printed this wrong, but they have him ranked on their website as 265.
Well, he's
if you look up one of his fights on YouTube, he can fight, man.
No, listen. He's 21-6. He's won 1, 2, 3, 4. He's won 6 fights in a row. His last loss was to Alex Nicholson. Was in 2017.
I was at that fight.
What was that fight like?
It ended in like the first 20 seconds. Nicholson, like, can pull some crazy shit sometimes. He threw a wild elbow, man, from the clinch and knocked him out. It's the first time Barnett, I think, had ever been knocked out. But I was positive Barnett was going to win. Because I'm telling you, man, Barnett, I think he'll beat Rothwell. He can fight. He was real popular over there in Japan. They called him Huggy Bear or something. He would dress up like a bear before he fought or something.
Yes.
Like, he's an entertaining guy, man.
He has a win over
But he
Wall
can fight.
Harris.
He really can fight.
Win over Wall Harris. He has a win over your friend, Richard White.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going by Beast
Richard
Boy.
White. I was getting ready to fight Richard White, and no one cared, and I was trying to get some interest stirred up. So I said, how ironic is it I'm fighting a guy named Dick White when he's black and a pussy? And people didn't really get into it. So then I made a Twitter account for him. I actually made a Twitter account for him and then photoshopped pictures of him with my ex-wife and posted them like he did. And then I acted outraged by it. It was actually really interesting.
You think maybe you should have been training for this fight instead of doing this?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I beat him in like 30 seconds, so that wasn't a problem. And then the second fight was when Roy Jones Jr. talked me into taking the fight, and I didn't want to fight anymore. I said, oh, man, my back is real injured. He goes, well, dude, look, just fight that guy that you beat in 30 seconds. I was like, oh, okay. He came in 50 pounds lighter off a 16-week training camp at American Top Team. And it's like, yeah, I'm taking this serious for the first time in my life. I was like, great, because I like walked around the block twice. So
you actually couldn't even, honestly, I was with you before that fight. You couldn't even walk from the car to the diner.
It was terrible, man. That was the worst. I was managing guys at the time, and Roy put on 5 of my fighters I was managing on the same card. And then he's like, yeah, we can do that, but will you fight too? Because we want your name on the card. I was like, dude, I don't, my back's injured. He's like, well, just somebody you'll beat real easy. And I was like, well, he said Richard White. And I was like, yeah, I beat that dude in 30 seconds. I'll beat him real easy. I didn't know he was going to do a 16-week training camp at ATT. So beforehand, and I probably still would have lost, but I thought I could beat him until he came in. First time I fought him, he was fat and out of shape. This time he came in with an 8-pack abs, 50 pounds lighter, like in really, really good shape. Just looked, I was like, great. Like, that's exactly what I was hoping would happen. So
in MMA news, they asked Derek Lewis who should play him in a movie. He said John Travolta.
I can see that.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that fucker stole that from me. God dang it, because I said I wanted Denzel Washington to play me. God damn it. At least Denzel's heterosexual, so that's okay. I'm not playing.
And Don,
wait, are you saying that Bruce Buffer's gay, Don? Is that what you just said?
that's not what he's saying.
Okay. I was confused for a minute.
Come on, man. Bruce Buffer did the intro for my wedding, bro. I don't.
My bad.
I don't want to fucking hear this.
He's got to be strengthened.
Now, Don. now you're a real man's man. Has a guy ever hit on you?
Besides Bruce Buffer.
Man.
Don?
I don't know. I wouldn't know if he did. I have no idea.
What about you, Greg?
One time in Vegas, there was this gay guy. I was at there was this band playing, and I was out there dancing. And this is the only time. Well, I'm not good looking enough for most gay guys. But this guy locked on me, and he kept trying to like dance on me. And I kept going, get the fuck away from me, dude. And then I would move. And then I would see him coming at me again later. And I was like, is this what it's like? This is what it's like for chicks to have dudes trying to fucking dance on them all night? Yeah. And it was fun. I was like, I get it now. This is fucking gross. This guy's fucking pissing me off. And that was the one time.
What about you, Sean?
That all sounds
don't get me wrong. I fucked the guy, and then he bought me pancakes. Obviously.
I didn't usually sleep with him, though.
No one know how was it yet.
What about you, Sean?
Oh, did I cut out? Oh, I was saying when I was in the UFC, man, I was like just like a hot chick. Like I had gay dudes all over me all the time, man. Everywhere I went, like, give me their number, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, oh, okay. I was gonna say something funny, but I changed my mind. But it's awkward, man. It is.
When I lived in New York, there was a guy who was like it was a big like radio DJ, and he was like an actor. It was like lived in my building. He was like, let's hang out, and I was like, sure, the guy's a celebrity. I didn't know he was gay. We do like we whipped us some cocaine. We do a couple lines, and he goes, buddy, I really want to suck your dick. And I was like, well, thank you, but I'm into it. I like women, you know? I like women. He goes, all right, well, what if a hot chick blows you while I do you from behind? I was like, well, I'm still into women, though. So then his girl shows up, this like hot girl. And then it was like, And then my buddy came, and I just left with my friend. I'm like, thanks, man. It was good to see you. I was like, this is fucking
You're like, can we just do the first half of that? I mean, without the back half of that?
Yeah.
How about this? How about I fuck the hot girl while you do blow and watch? How's that? Is that an option?
I don't even know if I could do that. I know some guys that are into like having sex with wives while their husbands watch, but I don't know, man. Just having another dude like in the room.
Yeah.
I
used to have a buddy, and we always have these he always had after parties here in LA, and so there's always coke and partying and all this. And the guy was just really into fucking threesomes, but like one chick, two dudes. So he was always been like, hey, come with me and her in the other room. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna do the blowout here. I'm good.
And Greg was like, how much cocaine do you have?
Exactly. Now, if we ran out of living room coke, maybe I would have done it. But so long as there's living room coke, I didn't need to do bedroom coke.
Hey, by the way, Don, there's an internet video of Tank Abbott talking about how he used to train with Tito Ortiz, and Tito Ortiz stole money from him. That he like stole a check from him from his car and cashed it, and he was
Hello.
like,
I lost you. You said I lost you when you said there's an internet video, and that was it.
There's a video of Tank Abbott saying that he used to train with Tito Ortiz back in the day. He got Tito into fighting, and Tito stole $500 from his car one time. And then also Tito used to find out when Tank was bouncing at the bar and then come to his place, his house, and steal his alcohol. Do you believe this?
You know what? I've heard some crazy shit about Tito, and then I've heard crazier shit about Tank. Yeah, if you're hung up on that shit from 20 years ago, just tell Tito to write you a damn check and get on with your fucking life. Come on. 25 years ago. Jeez.
And then Pat Miletich says there was a time where he wanted to fight Tank Abbott, like a street fight, and Tank Abbott ran away from him, like ran back to the hotel. Is there any truth to that, you think?
Well, he didn't want his food to get cold.
Don? Don. All right. So
Don's still answering how he was doing this or how his weekend was, I think.
Okay. All right.
Wait for that answer to come through.
All right. So I guess Jon Jones. So Jon Jones said he wanted $30 million to fight Ngannou. The Black Beast says he wants $8 million to fight Ngannou. The Black Beast is fighting Ngannou, and because Jones isn't ready to step up, Stipe Miocic gets the winner. I think Stipe should get the winner anyway because they're 1-1. What's going on with Jon Jones? McCorkle, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, it's a double-edged sword because it's kind of like, the UFC, it's always like, well, you signed a contract, you're under those terms, but then they can cut you from that contract anytime they want. And what I think they don't want to do is get guys in the habit of, they even canceled Conor McGregor at UFC 200 because he wanted too much money. They're like, okay, just forget it. We'll just use somebody else, I don't think they want to go down that path. And if that means not making the fights people want to see, I don't think they care because if Jon Jones gets $20 million, then what does Conor McGregor want next time? Then what is, if Ngannou beats Jon Jones, what does he want for the next one? And it just, until there's a fighter union, man, it's going to be like this.
Greg?
Well, and he's trying to dictate terms like he's a current fighter. Like, dude, you're not fighting. You never fight. Yeah. You got to take a fight and prove that you can still fight before you can start dictating some terms. They'll just keep you on a contract, make sure you don't do shit. Dude, fucking take a fight.
Well, I don't get how you go. You're like, I'm going to heavyweight. And then you're like, well, I'm not fighting heavyweight unless you pay me this. Well, you're the one who wanted to go to heavyweight. Like, why wouldn't you stay at 205? It's like you're the one.
The guy's an idiot. The guy. I mean, come on. How much more of this do we got to listen to?
Well, it's a shame.
But I think they really do just want to keep him from being able to do anything else until he's too old to do anything else, and then he'll go to Bellator.
It would be nice to see a guy like Jon Jones who does everything right and plays the game to finally get rewarded. I think like a guy who's never brought any negative attention to the UFC or anything. It'd be nice to see him get what he deserves.
So Jake Paul says he's a free agent. And he's open to working with Dana White to make crossover boxing bouts happen. Yeah, good luck. I I don't think Dana White wants any fucking part of the Jake Paul show. I mean,
not when his crowd is chanting "fuck Jake Paul" at their events. I think he's like pretty firmly gonna be like, "Yeah, we don't want you over here."
Well,
The only time you're getting Jake Paul to fight at or in a UFC event is going to be if he agrees to do MMA, and Dana will probably put him in with Jon Jones or someone like that. I would guess. Like it, I don't think he's going to let him do anything except get beat up.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a dangerous game though, because what if he fucking beats Jon Jones?
Can you imagine? That would.
I love the way he's like, "I'm a complete free agent." Like, really, Triller isn't holding you down?
All right. Thought
Like,
Triller signed you to a 10-fight deal.
Exactly. Like, okay, try and get out of that. Everyone knows you can't argue with Triller.
By the way, so Sean, you're a basketball fan, right? I mean, you play college
Yeah, I used to be.
basketball. So you know Kwame Brown?
Yeah.
Greg, you know Kwame Brown?
Sure.
Now, was he good? I don't follow basketball. Was he a good player? They're saying he's like the biggest bust.
Only because he went number 1 in the draft. If he had gone in the second round, people have been like, "Hey, he's pretty good," but he went
Right.
very first pick of the draft.
Exactly. He was a hype machine. He was also a real young kid when he came in too.
Yeah, he's like 18 when he came in, and they thought he'd be like Kevin Garnett, and he ended up being very average.
Yeah.
So he went on the internet yesterday. He like did a live, and it went viral because so basically he went off on like everybody. He like went off on so he
Hi, Bree.
you want to say hi to everybody? So, we're on
Couple things.
All right, so Kwame Brown, this guy's hilarious. So first he says he wants to beat up Stephen A. Smith because he's like, first he said, if I'm a bust, then I hope every black kid's a bust because I bought my mom a house at 18 years old. Like he's saying, fuck you,
And I would like to see him fight Stephen A. Smith.
And he says he wants to do it in like Seattle where it's like a mutual combat rule so he can beat up Stephen A. Smith. Then he went off on, I guess he banged a bunch of basketball players' wives or like one of them's wives. And he talks about that, and he just goes off on everybody. He goes off on like Steven Jackson. I don't know who you guys are, but like he went off, and it was hilarious. And then somebody put the music from "Hit 'Em Up" from Tupac, and then like put it under it.
That's awesome. I heard the good news is Stephen A. Smith is a free agent, so he can fight anybody. I didn't hear that.
So, yeah, I mean.
Well, remember who was that one player that was on the Cavs with LeBron and then reportedly started banging LeBron's mom? And so LeBron got him kicked off the team. Who was that?
Homeless. That guy's like homeless and like a huge drug problem. And like,
Man, LeBron is a powerful guy.
So Arena. So basically, he said that Brown. So Gilbert Arenas said that Brown was a show pony. Being picked by Jordan didn't exactly help his confidence. Blah blah blah. And then he goes. So this is what Brown said. I think you need to focus and channel that energy on some real problems. And Stephen A. Jackson, maybe you can put that motherfucking blunt out and pull your pants up. You're a fucking asshole. Put that rag down. You act like a grown ass man instead of a little boy. He also described Barnes, I guess Matt Barnes, as Becky with the good hair, who needed. And he said,
"How's Matt Barnes getting dragged?"
And then he said that Gilbert Arenas is out of touch with his blackness. He said Arenas was the whitest black boy I've ever known. I get where he's coming from. And then Barnes says, I guess he's been the butt of jokes coming into the league, not being able to. Brown averaged 6.6 points and 5 rebounds in his career. And then so that's that's MMA beef. I mean NBA beef. So but
that's well, and they're going into the playoffs. They got this little they got the play-in tournament they're doing now. That's gonna be cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. Delonte West, that's what it was. Delonte West was the name of the guy. Had all those tattoos and apparently had an affair with. But the thing is, LeBron's mom isn't that old. Like she's only like 17 years older than LeBron. So she's not that, and I think this dude was considerably older than LeBron too. So it's not like it was some weird, like totally out of control age difference that he was doing it just because it was. I think they were not that far apart in age, if I remember correctly.
Don't bang your teammate's mom though, especially the best guy ever. It's just
why not?
Thank you. Yeah, why not? If she's down, that's the only question. If she's into him, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you ever bang your friend's mom, Don?
No, never did. Never had the opportunity. So, yeah.
I definitely flirted. I definitely flirted with a bunch of my friends' moms. My friends had some pretty hot moms.
By the way,
in the
Don, I
90s.
invited you to my birthday party, and you didn't even text me back. So thank you.
Well,
No,
it's next week. You give me an invitation like 4 days out. I mean, come
it's
on.
this Thursday. I heard you went to my friend Sean's backyard wrestling show.
Yeah, I went over there and watched that, but you fucking give me a 4-day invitation. And
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, first of all, he's got to hitch up the wagon to the horses. He's got to put in enough grain and seed for a 4-day trip. I mean, you don't just. I get it, Don. There's a lot of prep that goes into that. You can't give me 4-day notice for a 4-day trip.
Yeah. Well, it would have been nice if you could even respond. You know.
No, you don't understand. His response is coming on Thursday. That's the gift.
Oh, thank you. Henry Cejudo's going to be there.
Shit on your head.
Fucking Greg will be there. Henry Cejudo's going to be there.
Is Cejudo going to be there?
I think he'll be there. I think Scott Baio's coming. It's going to be good. Tori Spelling with Dean McDermott. It's going to be a whole.
We somehow lost McCorkle, and McCorkle thinks he got booted out.
Oh, he didn't get booted out.
Yeah, I think Zoom had a problem with him. Whoever's running Zoom is offended. They're like, get rid of this guy. Kick him out of the Zoom. Everybody's offended at everything these days.
Yeah. Letting the big fart, you know, and she got mad, but it's fucking true. It's fucking true.
Yeah, as long as
I used to go on this Fox News show called Red Eye.
Yeah.
And I'd do this character where I was offended at everything. I would always, I'm outraged. No matter what we were talking about, I was outraged. And people loved it. It was this hilarious thing. But I mean, it was just, and it seems like that joke has just kind of morphed into reality somehow.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it sucks because a lot of times, like, you'll think of a joke, and rather than think of, like, who's going to laugh at this joke, you think of who's going to get mad at the joke.
Who's going to, get you in all kinds of trouble and try to get you canceled because how could you, it's a microaggression. And oh my God. Microaggression to me is the worst phrase of all time. If it's a microaggression, then it sounds like you can handle it. Okay. Yeah. Let me know when it's at least aggression. Then we'll talk about it.
So dog whistle, a fucking dog whistle. Oh, it's not there, but it is. You know, I mean, only certain people can hear it, but everybody's offended by it. You know, come on.
I agree. I'm with you. I'm with you, Don Frye. I really am with you. And
they just make shit up, just making shit up. You know.
Some of it, you're right. It wasn't a dog whistle because everyone could hear it. It was just a whistle.
So, Greg, what do you got coming up?
Let's see. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, my big 1 hour. I'm doing my full headlining set. I'm sorry you can't be there. You obviously had another show, Adam. You were my first invite, and when you couldn't do it, but tomorrow night at the Comedy Club.
Did he respond to your invitation?
Yes.
He didn't. Not for 2 days. No, he did. He responded right away, actually. And I was outraged.
But you misspelled it, right?
Exactly. I misspelled it. So that's tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So when you hear this, it's probably day of the podcast or tomorrow, depending on when this podcast gets out. If you're in LA, come by the Ha Ha Comedy Club at 8 o'clock. And then Memorial Day weekend, the South Point Dirty at 12:30 returns for the big Memorial Day weekend bash. I'm excited to be on the lineup of the All-Stars down there in Vegas, man. We're going to be rocking it out. If you're in Vegas over Memorial Day weekend, come down. It's like it's like $5 and it includes your first drink. That's how crazy they're fucking trying to make this. So join us down at the South Point on Memorial Day weekend.
Yes. I will be at the where am I going to be? At the Hollywood Roosevelt this Friday night in Hollywood. doing comedy next Wednesday at the OB Fuck House in San Diego.
I will make that.
I want to go to that one too. The OG Fuck House?
OB, an Ocean Beach Fuck House, FUC House. It's like a wrestling venue. They have comedy. That guy Mikey Gordon, you know Mikey Gordon, that's fucking madman.
It sounds like it's going to smell terrific in there.
He just goes by the wrestling name Dirty Ron. And then I will be at the June 4th. I will be at the South Point, just like you, Dirty at 12:30. And then July.
Well, the week after, though, you'll be there the week after.
Yeah. July 5th to the 11th at the Strat in Las Vegas. That's the week of the McGregor fight. And then in Reno, July 22nd to the 25th. So thank you guys so much. You're the best, Greg. Don, what do you got coming up? Talk to us.
Just going to be doing the podcast with Dan Severn. You know.
Now, what's this
Right
podcast
on.
called? Tell everybody what it's called.
And Don's Toxic Masculinity.
Yes, and it's available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, right? Everything?
Yeah, you got it, partner. Yeah, we haven't been kicked off anything as of yet.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Don. Thank you, Sean. Take
Good
care.
to see you guys. Have a great week.